Hello and welcome back. In this video, we are going to be looking at how to share organization resources with AWS RAM. Now, first, let us understand what we mean by AWS RAM. Now, what is AWS Resource Access Manager, also known as AWS RAM? So we are going to look at the general overview, or let's say high level overview of AWS Resource Access Manager. So RAM means Resource Access Manager. AWS RAM is a free AWS service that allows you to share AWS resources with other accounts without needing to create duplicates. So with the aid of AWS RAM, you can share supported AWS resources from one AWS account across every other account without having to duplicate those resources in each of the accounts. When sharing AWS resources, the accounts that is participating in the sharing, which we call the consumer account, can either be a member of an AWS organization or it could even be an external account, which in which case you will need to send an invitation to the external account informing it about the resource that you intend to share. And it is now the prerogative of the external account to either accept or reject the sharing. So if the external account accept the sharing, then the external account will now be able to make use of that sharing. So it is important to know that you can share resources from a source account, which is the owner of the resources, and you can share it among other accounts. Either the account is a member of an AWS organization or an external account. Now, commonly shared resources include transit gateways. So that means if you want to use transit gateway across multiple AWS accounts, like we explained in one of our previous videos, you can use your AWS RAM to share the transit gateway in one account and use it in another account. You can share resources like VPC Subnet, as we're going to see in our demonstration. You can share security groups. You can share AWS network firewall policy and rules, Route 53 resolver rules, and you can also share VPC custom managed prefix list, as we're also going to see in the demonstration. There are tons of resources that can be shared using AWS RAM, as we are going to see in the AWS console. But we are only going to be demonstrating just a couple of them. And in this video, we are going to be looking at just two of them, sharing a subnet and also sharing AWS managed prefix, a customer managed prefix list. Now, it is important to note that when you share resources among member organizations, let's assume you have your AWS organization containing several AWS accounts. If you share resources within the organization, that you share it among the member account in an organization, then those accounts do not require invitation. They can automatically access those resources that has been shared. Now, but if the account is external to your organization, then the resource shared will go with an accompanying invitation that need to be accepted by the external account before they can make use of the resources. So it is important to know that member accounts in an organization do not require invitation to access shared resources within that organization, but external accounts will need an invitation and will need to accept such invitation before they can access such resources. Now, let us look at a scenario where we can apply the concept of AWS Resource Access Manager to solve a real life problem. So let's assume we have a user called Felix who is managing a multi AWS organization environment, as we are going to see, similar to what we are going to see in our demonstration. And each account hosts an isolated environment, and they all need to allow traffic, into a central login account. The challenge here is if you want to, or if Felix decide to manually update the CIDR block is the IP range for each of the security group. If he decides to update the CIDR block in each of these accounts manually, then it faces some challenges. One, it is prone to error, and two, it could be very cumbersome, especially if it has a lot of accounts to deal with. Now, if you intend to do this individually, imagine having about 150 AWS account that you need to update this resource. It is, of course, not, I would say not practicable if you look at it. So we can use the concept of AWS RAM to solve this problem. And what can we do? If you look at the solution there, you say Felix will create a prefix list. Prefix list is a list that contains the CIDR block of the IP address in consideration. Let's assume the um, the range of IP is such that you want your security group to only accept traffic from this set of security group. So what you can do is you can create a prefix list for this set of IP address, and you can now use it, or IP range, and you can now use it in your security group creation, as we are going to see. So now, after you have created this prefix list, you cannot, it doesn't really make sense to go into each of the accounts and begin to update them. So what you can do instead is to use AWS Resource Access Manager or RAM to share these resources among those accounts that need it. And that is what the solution Felix want to use here. So Felix create a prefix list in the login account with the service IP and share it via AWS RAM. Okay, so that each environment can now have each of these resources that has been shared. So in our demonstration, we are going to see how we can share subnet and how we can share Prefix List as explained in this problem scenario. Now, let us see a couple of architectural diagram before we go into our AWS console. So if you see what I have on the screen, we have um, an AWS organization that contains 3 accounts. This is account 1, this is account 2, and this is account 3. Okay. And now, the account 1 here is the central account, as you can see here, is the central account, okay, which in an organization most of the time, you have an account that is centralized to manage resources. So this is account 1 that contains, in this case, it has an ATLS certificate and it also has a security group. Now, but this TLS certificate and this security group are equally needed in other AWS accounts. So instead of coming here to create another CA and another security group, all you need is to just share, okay? You share the resource here, and then each of these accounts can now have access to that resource. You can have access to this what? To the same resource. Now, this will save you a lot of time This is also save you some cost and will also save you a lot of overhead. So what happens is the resource is shared in one of the accounts and it is accepted in the other account. Don't forget, this is an AWS organization. And in this case, these accounts are member of an organization. In that case, there will be no need. Immediately the resource is shared, the account can automatically access those resources. However, let's assume we have another account which is external, which is not part of this organization. If this resource is shared with that account, then the resource is going to come with an invitation. Okay, it's going to come with an invitation, and this account would need to accept that invitation before it can able to use that AWS resources. Now, let us also see another architectural diagram which um, depict what we are going to be doing in our demonstration. So from the architecture diagram on the screen, that is exactly what we are going to be implementing. So we have a management account here, okay, which contain a prefix list. And like I said, prefix list is a list of certain IP address, maybe maybe a blacklist IP address, or let's say whitelist, or it's a list of IP address where you only want your security group to allow traffic, as we're going to see in the demonstration. Now, this resource now is created in the management account and is being shared with a team OU, an organization unit. And in that organization unit, it contains two accounts, account A and account B. So as soon as this previous list is shared with the organization, then every member of the organization will have access to that previous list and they will be able to use it in their account. Now, without much ado, we are going to jump onto our AWS console and we are going to demonstrate how we can share previous lists and how we can share subnet in our using AWS RAM or Resource Access Manager. So I'm in my AWS Access Portal and I'm going to be logging into my management account and I'll be logging in with the administrator access. So I will log into the console and I'm going to create a VPC. And inside the VPC, I will create a subnet. So I will go right here and click on VPC. Then inside here, I'll also click on VPC. Let me delete this VPC because I don't need it. I'll just delete VPC. Okay, I'll delete this VPC and I'll go ahead and create a new VPC. So I'll say create VPC and I will call it shared VPC. I will call it shared with RAM VPC. Okay, share with RAM. Share with RAM VPC. Sorry, share with RAM VPC. Okay, that is share with Resource Access Manager VPC. And I will give the VPC, any CIDR range 10.0.0.0/16. I will leave it as default tenancy. I will go ahead and create VPC. Then inside the VPC, I will create a subnet. So I will click on subnet. I will create subnet and I will select the VPC in which I want to create subnet, which is share with RAM. And I will give it a name. Let me call it share RAM subnet, or let me just call it shared subnet private. It doesn't really matter. We are just giving it a name. Availability zone, let's give it availability zone A. And then we are going to keep the, of course, we cannot change this. Then we need to give it a CIDR block 10.0, 10.0.1.0/24. And that is the first subnet. We are going to create another subnet again. So we can just go down here and said add subnet. I will go here and I will give it a similar name. I will call it share subnet public. This is private. I will call it public. I will keep it in 1B and I'll give it a CIDR block 10.0.2.0/24. And then I will go ahead and create subnet. So two subnet has been created. Now, let's assume that this subnet is now needed. Don't forget we have created this subnet in our management account. Let's assume this subnet is now needed in any of the account here or even all of them. So instead of going into this account and create this subnet, then we can now use RAM to share it. Okay, we can use RAM to share those subnets. Now, I will go back to my account and let us create Prefix List at the same time. Okay, we said we want to share subnet and we want to also share Prefix List. Now let us create Prefix List. So I will come here under VPC. You go straight down, you will see where we have manage Prefix List. Okay, let's look at it. It should be somewhere. This hit right here, manage Prefix List. I will click on that and I will create Prefix List and I will give it a name, custom IP, or let me call it allowed IP, depending on how you want to put it, custom IPs. Okay, and this is the Prefix List and I'm going to add entries. So let's assume we have set of IP address that you only want to receive traffic with your security group. Okay, so let's assume this is the list. So I'm going to add the list now. So I will click 4, and first you need to add what maximum number of entries do you want to put? What maximum number of record? What maximum number of IP address? So let me just say I want maximum number of 5. Then if you don't put that, this hard entry will not be active. For example, let me take this 5 off. You will see now the hard new entry is what is grayed out. So until you had the number of entries. So I'll add 5 in this case, and I'll come here and click add entries. So I'm going to be adding just any range of IP address. I can select from here. I can select this, and let us call it maybe from DevOps team. Maybe from DevOps team. I'll add another one. Maybe this, maybe from QA department. And let's take another range of IP address. Maybe this one, maybe from this is a single, this /32 means single IP address. So this is a single IP address. Maybe let's call it from the security manager. This is from the security manager. Okay, so let's assume you want to create a security group with these 3 IP address, with these 3 set of IP addresses. Now, you need them across all your multiple accounts. Now you have created it in the management account. We will now use AWS Resource Access Manager to share it across the account so that you don't have to go into each of the accounts and create it. So now I've added everything. If I like, I can add tag. I can call it name, and I can say the name is allow IP address, allowed IP range. Okay, let's assume that is what we want to put. And I will go down and say create prefix list. Okay, so you should come back to my prefix list now. You can see I've created a prefix list called custom IPs. Now we are going to use our AWS RAM to now share these resources. So we're going to come up over here and we're going to type RAM or Resource Access Manager, and we are going to open it in another tab. Okay, and I'm going to open it here. So I'm in my RAM here now. Okay, we already have one that we have created before. It's still active, but we are not using that. We are creating another one and say, I will give it a name. I will give it um, shared custom, share custom IP range. Okay, I'll put it like that. And or let me just call it, let me just call this share resources. Maybe we can share multiple at the same time. Share custom resource or resources. Okay. And I'm going to come here now. It's asking you what type of resource do you want to share? You click on drop down. You want to share our subnet. So you click a drop down. These are tons of resources that you can share. You can share a lot of resources, SageMaker, just check it, private list, prefix list, and all that. But in our own case, we want to share what? Subnet. So I will type subnet and I will select subnet. Now it's going to show you all the subnet that are available to you in this account. So which of them do you want to share? Of course, I want to share the both of them. I will select it. Okay. And you can see this display it, and you need to come here and select those accounts. Okay. Now, do you still want to share any other thing? After subnet, do you want to share any other thing? Yes, I want to share prefix list. Let me come here and put prefix list. Maybe we can share multiple at a time. Prefix list. You can see this is prefix list. I'll select it and it's going to show me my prefix list. You can see it. This is my prefix list. And I can select it as well. And you can see it down here. You can see the prefix list shown here. You need to select it. And we can come down here and click on next. And we review everything and everything is fine. We'll look at it. There's nothing to change. It's going to create a rule to make it. And then we'll click on next. And it's asking you, where do you want to share it? You can share it with anyone and you can share it with your organization. But in my own case, I want to share it with my what? AWS organization. These are all the accounts that are present in my AWS organization. So I'm going to come here and choose allow sharing with your organization. Now, if you are sharing with your external account, you can see it will allow you to put an AWS account. So in that case, you just go to your account and copy the ID of the account you want to share with and add it. But in my own case, I want to share with my AWS organization. So I will select this and you can see a button here, display organization structure. This is going to show you the configuration and the content of your organization. So I'm going to toggle that button and you can see now it has shown me all the account that is in my organization or all the organization units. And of course, similar to what I have here. So I want to share with certain accounts. So inside this organization unit, we have some account there. So let us check. I want to share with my playground account. So I want to share with this account. So I'll select it. I want to share with, let's see, I want to share with playground. I want to start with also master ops. This master ops account, I want to share with it. So I'll go and look at master ops. I don't know where it is. I think master ops is under operation. Yeah, master ops under operation. I will select it as well. And okay, let's just share with these two accounts. So I've selected the account I want to choose now. You can see selected account. Then you need to select them here. You click on next. And then we have everything here. Everything look fine. Then you go ahead and what? Create resource share. When you click on create resource share, you can see now it's associating. It is active over here. I should look at up here. It says what? Associating. This is going to take a couple of minutes and it's going to show you associated. Now let's allow it a few minutes and we will see when it is ready. Okay, you can see just a few seconds, it is now ready and it is associated. Now, we'll now head over to those accounts and let us see if we can access this resource or these resources that has been shared. So what are the accounts that is being shared? Let us see it. One, it is shared with our 851 account and it is shared with our 058 account. So I'm going to go into my AWS account, AWS Access Portal. Don't forget, if you look at my account here, I've enabled what we call multi-session. In one of our previous video, I explained how you can enable multi-session in your account. such that AWS will allow you to um, access multiple AWS accounts in the same browser. Normally when you open one AWS account in your browser, it will automatically disallow another AWS account. But with the aid of multi-session, which I've made a video on, you can take your time to watch it. You can open up to 5 AWS accounts without closing or interfering with a 61. So I have it turned on here. So I will go into my access portal and I'm going to go into these two accounts. The one that start with 851 and the one that start with 058. So I'll head over to my access portal and I will look at the account. The first one is the 058, which is our playground. I will open it and I will log in as an administrator. That is with the administrator access. And let us see what we have. Now, inside this account, I'm going to go into my RAM. Okay, I'm going to open RAM in this account. This RAM here, if you open this account, this is the RAM for our management account. So inside this, I will go and open RAM and I'll open it in another tab. Don't forget, this is the tab, this is the RAM for another account. Let me put them side by side. Okay, this is the RAM of our 058 account. If you look at the top here. Now, we are going to go into the left pane and you see what we call share by me. These are the resources that you shared out. Why share with me? These are the resources that is shared with you. So if I go into resource shared now, you will see that I have two resources that is being shared. This is our shared custom resource and this is our shared custom IP. Okay, now if I click here, look at what I have here. I have my two subnets and I have the Prefix List. And if you come here, those are the resources that I share. Under the management account, if I go to share by me and I go to shared resources, you can see these are the resources that I share. This one was before. I share two subnets and I share a Prefix List. Okay. So if I go to the 058 account, you can see this is resource that I just shared with it. Also, if I go into my master ops account, which is this one, and I log in with the administrator access, and I'm also going into RAM, I'll also go into Resource Access Manager here, Resource Access Manager, and I right click and open another tab. And let me also bring it close to the other one. So if I click in it now, you can see this is our 0 with the yellow tab, 851 account. If I go into resource share with me and I click on shared resource, if I go, you can see I have 3 resources, 2 subnets and 1 Prefix List. So you can see this is how you can easily share the resource from a center account into another account. Now, I want to try to use this account now to create a security group. Let's assume I want to create a security group in this account. I can come to my VPC. Let me go to my VPC in this account. I'll go to my VPC. Okay. And I will go, you can see now, if I go to VPC now, you will see the VPC that I created in the other account. You can see it here. And if I go to subnet, you will see the subnet that I just shared with them. It's going to be part of this subnet. You can see them here. These two subnets, this one and this one. Sorry, this one and this one. If you look at it, the last number here is FF94. FF94. If I go to my main account, if I go to my main management account, you can see it. Where's my management account? This is my management account. If I go to the VPC in my management account, you will see that it's the same subnet. If I go to subnet, you will see where's my subnet. I'm trying to see my subnet. Okay, I'm trying to see my subnet or the VPC. Let me go to the VPC. Okay, that's the VPC. You can see it. FF94. That is the last item in it. So now let me go back to the account where I am, and I will go to security group. This is security group, and I can create security group. And let me just give it a name. I'll just call it web security group, web security group, web sec group, and I'll just call it allow IPs in which of the VPC. In this VPC that we just shared, you can see it. If it is in that VPC, if it's not in that VPC, we won't be able to see if it's in that VPC. Now let us see if we have our privilege list here. So let's assume I want to allow SSH from those VPC. I want to allow SSH from those VPC. I will come here. Sorry, from those previous list. I will look for our previous list. You can see this is the previous list. Okay. If I select it and I create, let's just call it allow IPs, and I create security group. If you look at it now, I have created a security group with, let's go to that security group. Okay, let me go back to that security group. And this is my security group. You can see it here. So if I open it, and and I click on my VPC, this is the security group. I'm trying to show you something. Just a minute. I'll go to VPC, sorry, my security group. This is the security group. And this is the our security group. Thank you. So if you go down, look at the prefix list. If you click on the prefix list, you will see now all the IP address that we just added. You remember we had for DevOps, for QA, and for security manager. So let's assume you have all the security group and you have deployed it in about, let's say, in about 20 AWS accounts. Now, if you need to make changes across the AWS account, you don't have to go into each of the accounts. All you just need is to go into the central account where the previous list is created and make the changes, and it's going to be reflected across all the AWS accounts. So for example, now let's assume you want to remove the QA. You want to remove the QA from the security group list or from the IP address range list. All you just need is to go to the central account where that is created. Where's my central account? Let me see my central account. Okay, this is my central account. I will go to where the previous list is. I will come here. I will look for my previous list, which is this. I will look for that previous list, which is the one here. I will click on it. And you can see these are the previous list. I will come here. I will go to modify previous list. And let's assume I want to remove QA. I will click on remove and I will click on save. Now, if I refresh it, you can see only two previous lists are left. If I go back to my my member account where I have the previous list here, and sorry, where is that one? Here, you can see we are still having three here. If I go ahead now and refresh, this, you find out that the third one was what is gone. So this is how you can easily manage resources sharing among your AWS account, either in an organization or with an external account using AWS RAM. So one more thing before we go, let us see what it looks like when you share a resource with an external account. So I have another AWS account here. Okay, I have another AWS account here, which is completely external to the previous one. You can see here different AWS accounts and they're in different organizations. So let's assume I want to share with this master controller account. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my management account in the previous account. Let me close all this. So I'm going to log in into my management account as an administrator or with the administrator access. And I'm going to go to Resource Access Manager where we used before. Okay. And now this time I want to share a resource with an external account. So I'm going to create a new share and I'm going to call it share with external. I'll call it share with external. Okay. And I will call it source. Source, that is where I share it. This is just me naming it. You don't have to do this. I'm just naming it to make it unique. Okay, this is the source, this is the account that is sharing. And what resource do I want to share? I want to share a previous list. Prefix list. I'll select it and it's going to show me the available previous list. And this is the one here that we have created. I'll select it. And of course, under selected resource, I will select it and I will click on next. Everything looks good here. This is just telling you that it's going to create a permission to enable that to happen, which is fine. I'll click on next. And now it's asking me, where do I want to share? Previously, we have shared with our organization. Remember, where we toggle this button to get all the organization. But this time around, we want to share with external. So we have to toggle this. And now it's asking for the account number, the AWS account that you want to share with. So I will head back to my other account and I can copy the AWS account here. This is the AWS account. I can just copy it from here and I can go back into my account and I can provide the AWS account and I will click on add. So you can see now that the account has been added. I will select it and I will click on next. And it showed me that I want to share this previous list, which is fine. I will scroll down. It told me the permission that will be created, which is okay. And I will click on create share. Now the share has been created and you can see it is what in the associating status. Now I've got to head back to my other account with which it has been shared. I'll come here and don't forget this is the account. So I'm going to log into this account as an administrator. And let us look at the difference. So I'm in the external account now, which is this one, and I'm going to go to RAM. I will type RAM and I will open it. And let us see what we have there. If I get into my RAM and you go under share with me, what do you see? Resource share, one invitation. You can remember we mentioned that if you create an account, if you share a resource with an external account, that resource is accompanied by an invitation. That invitation needs to be accepted by the external account before it can be shared. So if you go back now, before I accept it, let me go back to my source account where I share the resource. And let me refresh. I want to show you something. If I refresh it, you can see now it has been associated from here. So that means it's available in the external account. So I will come here and I will click on this resource invitation. And this is the resource here. It's available, but it is pending. I can't use it because I've not accepted it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to what? Click on the resource and you what? Accept resource share. If I don't want to be part of the sharing, I will click on reject because it is possible that the resource has been wrongly shared with you. You don't have to accept it. Just say reject and it's going to be dissociated from the source account. But in this case, I want it, so I will accept it. And when I accept it now, if I go back to shared resource, you see now that is what? It is available. And if I want to use it to create a security group, I can go ahead and use it. So this is um, how good and how fantastic this AWS service is. It allows you to easily share supported AWS resources across multiple AWS accounts. Imagine in my environment here, imagine I want to share the previous list across these 10 or 11 AWS accounts. Of course, you agree with me that it doesn't make sense to go into this account and begin to have the previous list. All you just need is to create a resource and share it across the multiple AWS accounts. So we have come to the end of the video. I thank you for spending your time with me to go through this demonstration. I hope you have learned one or two things. If you have any question, kindly put it in the comment section, and I will try my best to respond to you as soon as possible. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.